In a world obsessed with success and strength, many silently carry wounds buried beneath polished smiles and quiet achievements. We are taught to win, conquer, and compete, but rarely how to feel, accept, or simply be human. Carl Jung dared to ask, what if the pain we hide is the key to who we truly are? Beneath our fear of being seen lies a deep longing to be accepted, to be loved without condition. Healing begins when we stop performing and start listening, not to others, but to the aching voice within ourselves. The shadow lives in us all, the rejected self, the wounded self, the forgotten self we never dared to face. Jung believed that the path to wholeness lies not in light alone, but in embracing the darkness within us. Love, not control, is what the soul truly craves, not dominance over others, but presence with ourselves. Power says, fix yourself. Love says, you're already whole. Power commands. Love listens. Power divides. Love unites. If we are always striving for perfection, we deny the sacredness of imperfection, the very place healing begins. We were not born to dominate, but to connect. Not to overpower, but to understand. Behind every controlling urge is a fear of losing love. Behind every mask is a wounded child asking, am I enough? Where power governs, love is suffocated. Where love leads, power is dissolved into compassion, humility, and presence. We confuse control with strength, but true strength is sitting with discomfort without numbing, blaming, or escaping. Jung called this the individuation process, becoming who we are by integrating all we've tried to forget. We think healing is about becoming someone better, but healing is about remembering who we were before we were hurt. Society rewards the strong, the loud, the fearless. But it's in the quiet courage of healing that real power resides. There is no greater act of rebellion than choosing tenderness in a world that tells you to toughen up. Love is not weakness. Love is the fire that burns down the walls we built to feel safe but unloved. You don't heal by dominating your emotions, but by welcoming them as guests, even the ones you wish to banish. The soul doesn't want power. It wants peace. Not performance, but authenticity. Not attention, but intimacy. Ask yourself, when did I stop choosing love and start chasing control? When did I stop trusting my softness? Power asks, how do I win? Love asks, how do I understand? Healing is not fixing yourself. It's unlearning the belief that you were ever broken. The ego seeks power. The heart seeks connection. The soul remembers wholeness. Every time we control, manipulate, or force, we move further from love and deeper into fear. The wound is the place where love is blocked, and where, once opened, it returns with fierce compassion. Jung taught us, what you resist persists. What you accept transforms. What if the emotions you fear the most are the ones that hold your deepest healing? When you stop judging your sadness, it becomes tenderness. When you hold your rage, it becomes protection. We must stop calling our shadows bad. They are parts of us waiting to be seen, honored, and embraced. You are not too much. You are not too sensitive. You are not broken. You are learning how to love in a world that taught you fear. That's a revolution. When love leads, healing is not a destination, but a return to the self that never left you. The power you've been chasing is already within you, and it speaks in the voice of quiet, steady love. Jung believed the self becomes whole by integrating its contradictions, not eliminating them. You are not either strong or soft. You are both. You are all. Power divides the world into good and bad. Love sees the whole and holds both with grace. A healed person does not control others. A healed person does not control themselves. They live in truth, not tension. The true journey isn't self-improvement, it's self-remembrance. To return, not reinvent. To feel, not fix. To be, not perform. Most people fear their feelings because they were never taught how to feel them safely. That's where love begins. When power speaks, it demands. When love speaks, it invites. And healing only responds to invitation, never to force. The child in you doesn't need discipline. It needs safety. It needs someone to say, "Your feelings make sense." Jung reminded us, the things we disown in ourselves will appear in the world as fate, crisis, and enemy. You don't need to fight your darkness. You need to sit with it long enough for it to tell truth. True power isn't about winning. It's about staying present when everything in you wants to run, control, or escape. Wholeness isn't the absence of struggle. It's the sacred balance between your wounds and your willingness to tend them. If you avoid your pain, it grows louder. But if you listen, it softens and eventually becomes your guide. We chase love from others while abandoning ourselves. But the love we long for begins with how we treat ourselves. You can't force someone to heal. Just like you can't force a flower to bloom before it's time. Healing isn't a goal. It's a way of being, of choosing compassion over criticism, moment by gentle moment. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. You must walk into the cave you fear, not to conquer, but to sit and learn what's inside." Love cannot bloom where fear dominates. And fear will shrink in the presence of consistent, gentle, unconditional love. There is a power in surrender, not giving up, but letting go of what was never yours to hold. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is fall apart, and trust that love will hold the pieces together. The world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be real, soft, scarred, human, and whole. The pain you've buried doesn't want revenge. It wants acknowledgement. It wants presence. It wants to finally be seen. Power will tell you to keep pushing. But love whispers. Pause, breathe, feel. You don't have to prove anything. You were never meant to walk through life armored. Your softness is not a flaw. It's your most sacred gift. Jung believed the unconscious holds both our fears and our healing. What you hide is often where your strength sleeps. Trust is the bridge between fear and love, and that bridge must first be built within you. Many confuse numbness with peace, but peace is not absence of emotion. It's the ability to hold them all. The more you control others, the less you feel safe within. Healing restores that inner safety, piece by piece. We were raised to hide our pain, but healing begins the moment you stop pretending you're fine. Your shadow is not shameful. It is sacred. It contains the stories you were too afraid to tell. We lose ourselves chasing acceptance, and find ourselves the day we accept every unloved part within us. Love thrives in honesty, and the deepest honesty begins with you, with how gently you meet your own heart. You can only meet others as deeply as you've met yourself. So dive inward, bravely, lovingly. Jung didn't ask us to be holy. He asked us to be whole, light and shadow, soul and scar. Healing is the slow unraveling of every mask you wore to feel loved, safe, or significant. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to earn love. You don't have to earn healing. When love rules, there is no need for dominance, only devotion, curiosity, and the courage to be vulnerable. The more you soften, the more the world around you softens. Because love is contagious, just like fear. Power divides the self into good and bad. Love integrates every part and whispers, all of you belongs. Your softness is your revolution. In a world that fears vulnerability, choosing to feel is the bravest act of all. Do not rush your healing. The soul moves slower than the world, but deeper than anything else. The inner critic wants control. The inner child wants connection. Let love be the voice that mediates between them. You are not here to master life. You are here to remember how to love, forgive, and be fully human. Let your brokenness become a blessing. Let your pain become a prayer. Let your truth become a homecoming. When the storm rages inside, don't silence it. Sit beside it like a friend who will not leave. True healing happens in stillness, in surrender, in softness, not in striving, forcing, or proving. Jung's wisdom reminds us, the more whole we become, the less we need to control, manipulate, or impress. You are not healing to be lovable. You are healing because you already are. There is no destination called healed. There is only deeper presence, wider love, and quieter fear. You cannot shame yourself into growth. You can only love yourself there. One breath, one truth, one step. When love rules, you stop needing to win, you start needing to understand. Power says, don't cry. Love says, let it out, I'm here. You were never meant to carry it all alone. Healing begins when you admit you're tired of pretending. Stop striving for peace like it's a prize. Start seeing it as your birthright. The moment you stop hiding from your truth, you begin to taste your freedom. Jung's shadow work is not destruction, it is resurrection. You rise by embracing what you tried to bury. Healing doesn't mean you'll never hurt again. It means you trust yourself more when the hurt comes. Power wants answers. Love holds space for mystery. Every tear you've cried was a seed. Every ache, an invitation. Every wound, a doorway. Your vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's the most honest language your soul knows how to speak. Real healing isn't loud. It's silent forgiveness, unseen courage, and quiet reclamation of every part you disowned. Love doesn't need a reason. Love is the reason. Where love rules, there is no will to power, only presence, compassion, and the freedom to fully be. Your healing will not look like theirs. It will not follow timelines. It will not obey logic. Trust your path. Jung taught that transformation doesn't come from comfort. It's born in confrontation with the truths we try to avoid. Power fears change. Love welcomes it. Power clings to certainty. Love trusts the unknown. You cannot truly love others until you stop trying to earn your worth. When you stop performing, you start becoming. When you stop pushing, you start listening. That's when the shift begins. The heart doesn't speak in logic. It speaks in symbols, feelings, whispers. Listen closely. Your silence may have protected you once, but now it's time to speak, first to yourself, then to others. Love doesn't rush you. Love waits. Power demands perfection. Love embraces process. The only real transformation is the one that leads you back to yourself, the self before shame. Jung believed that the soul is not linear. It spirals through darkness, reflection, and rebirth. You will revisit old wounds. That's not failure. That's deeper healing, peeling back another layer of what was never yours. Every emotion is a messenger. None are mistakes. All want to be witnessed, not exiled. Power isolates. Love connects. Power builds walls. Love builds bridges. If your healing feels hard, it's because you are unlearning generations of silence, shame, and survival. What if your greatest wound is also the root of your deepest wisdom? Love transforms by touching the places we thought were unlovable and saying, "You too belong." Power resists. Love allows. Healing requires the courage to stay open even when every instinct says to shut down. Jung knew, the brighter the persona, the darker the shadow. What we hide becomes the key to our truth. Your breakdown wasn't the end. It was the sacred beginning, your soul saying, "No more lies. You are not behind. You are not late. You are arriving exactly on time to your own becoming." The self doesn't demand you to be someone else. It longs for you to return to who you are. When love rules, control loses its grip, and you begin to breathe again, fully, deeply, honestly. Your past is not a prison. It is a passage, and you are allowed to walk forward now. Sometimes love looks like boundaries. Sometimes love looks like rest. Sometimes love looks like walking away from what dims your light. There's power in softness, in crying, in saying, "I don't know," in letting go of the need to perform. Stop running from what hurts. Run toward what's true. That is where you will find peace. When you look at your reflection and no longer flinch, you'll know love has made its home inside you. The path back to love is messy, painful, confusing, but it's real. It's yours. It's worth it. Jung never promised ease. He promised meaning. He promised depth. He promised the soul would find light through the shadow. Healing doesn't erase the past. It reclaims it. It rewrites the story from fear to freedom. You don't need to justify your healing. You don't need to prove your worth. You just need to keep choosing love. If you want to transform your world, start by transforming how you speak to yourself. Every "I'm fine" you said was a prayer for someone to see behind your smile. That someone can be you now. You are allowed to show up for yourself in ways no one ever did. Where power wants control, love seeks closeness. And closeness requires truth, even when truth feels scary. The moment you stop editing your truth is the moment you begin living your healing. Let your grief be seen. Let your longing be heard. Let your shadow be loved. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." You are not your trauma. You are the tree that still grew after the fire, roots deeper, leaves wiser. Every scar tells a story, not of damage, but of survival, resilience, and sacred remembrance. Don't strive to erase the pain. Strive to make peace with it. That is how love rolls. The most radical act is choosing to stay when it's easier to disconnect with yourself, with others, with life. You don't have to pretend anymore. The parts you fear are exactly what make you human. Love doesn't fix. Love holds. Love listens. Love believes. Power avoids vulnerability. Love embraces it as the birthplace of transformation. We were never meant to be perfect. We were meant to be present, whole, and ever unfolding. Stop hiding your light to make others comfortable. The world needs your authenticity, not your performance. What you once called weakness may now be your greatest strength, tenderness, intuition, deep feeling, soft truth. You're not too much. You're not too broken. You are exactly the medicine you've been searching for. Your journey is sacred, not because it's painless, but because you are choosing love in places love was never shown. Jung taught that we do not become whole by chasing light, but by loving our darkness into light. Power says, "Don't feel that." Love says, "Feel it all, and I'll be here while you do." You are not on the wrong path. You are in the middle of becoming. Let it be messy and true. Sometimes healing is crying in a shower. Sometimes it's laughing at the memories that once broke you. Do not rush this. Even flowers bloom in silence and darkness before reaching the sun. Trust your becoming. Trust your unfolding. Trust that love knows the way home. The more you choose compassion over control, the more you live from the truth of who you are. One day, you'll look back and thank yourself for not giving up when the world told you to. And on that day, you'll know. Love has always been the answer, the path, and the destination. Because where love rules, there is no will to power, only freedom, truth, and the quiet return to wholeness.